Yeah, I think this is going to be fun today, folks. It may be a lot of, well, it's fun every day, but I think this one might be a little extra special out there.
Live from the Southern Command in sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
That's right. Here we are, raring and ready to go. Open Line Friday on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, hosted by me. So the phone number is 800-282-2882. And if you want to send an email, lrushbo@eibnet.us. And on Open Line Friday, you can talk about pretty much whatever you want. It may not sound any different than Monday through Thursday, but it can. It just depends on how widely thinking various callers happen to be. You see, Monday through Thursday, this is a very tightly screened program. You don't know this because you don't see it. But the number of people that call here versus the people that actually pass the screening process, that number of people is so infinitesimally small. Now, one of the ways they're screened Monday through Thursday is, are they going to talk about things I have established and I'm already talking about because those are the things I care about? But on Friday, blow all that out. Whatever you want to talk about is fine, whether I've talked about it or not, whether I care about it or not. So it's a golden opportunity to ask questions, make comments, particularly if you're a leftist and you disagree, or if you are angry. So have at it. Again, 800-282-2882. Let's start with some economic news, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. employers added 313,000 jobs in February. The expectations were 200,000. That's the number the so-called experts were forecasting. This blows past that. Construction, manufacturing, business services drove the gains. Construction, we're building new stuff. Manufacturing, jobs Obama said would not be coming back. Jobs Obama, during the campaign when Trump was talking about reviving the manufacturing sector, Obama's out there making fun of it and mocking it by saying, what's he going to do? Wave a magic wand. Those jobs are gone. They're not coming back. And here they are. They are roaring back. Donald Trump, in less than a year and a half, has more than made up for the stagnation and the decline that was the United States economy for the entirety of the 8-year Barack Obama presidency. This is remarkable. It is, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's unprecedented, but I'll guarantee you this. It doesn't take long to call a roll in presidents in this class who have inspired and triggered, and make no mistake, this is not some cyclical recovery. This is not a cyclical rebound. This is a policy and confidence-driven, substantive economic turnaround, and it would not have happened had Hillary Clinton been elected, and it probably wouldn't have happened if 90% of the Republican field in the primaries had been elected. That's how truly unique this is. And it's important to point out because there are substantive, real reasons why this is happening. And it's not because we're learning to connect with each other. And it's not because we're learning to heal ourselves or any of the so-called bromides that the left claims are necessary to do. We are reinvesting in this country, and we are investing in the country with the idea and the concept that it is great. And we are reviving American greatness, which is exactly what President Trump said his objective was. He is driving people crazy. He is literally driving the left insane. Their inability to keep up with this, their inability to do this on their own, the fact that Trump has been able to overcome their purposeful stagnation of the American economy. And make no mistake about that. Obama's policies were oriented toward stagnation. massively growing government, taking as much capital out of the private sector as possible and transferring it to government programs. Make no mistake, the open borders aspect of the Obama administration, flooding the job market with people who cannot speak the language, cannot read, do not have any skills. All of this was oriented towards stagnating the U.S. economy. Now, I realize many people, particularly who may be new in the audience, are asked, why would anybody want to do that? Why would any American want to slow down the U.S. economy? And I admit it's a tough thing to convince people that's true. But don't doubt me. Their reasons for doing things of that nature have nothing to do with you. It's not because they care about people. All of these things you think about the Democrat Party and the American left are mostly wrong. They are into power and control. And the more dependent people are, the more people cannot get by way of their own efforts, the more power the Democrat Party and the American left can accumulate. It's no more complicated than that. There's also a globalism aspect to it. The American left, and this was even stated publicly on a number of occasions by Obama, that this whole concept of American exceptionalism was unwarranted. That's kind of arrogant to think that we're better than anybody else. Who do we think we are? There's no such thing as American exceptionalism. They probably think they're exceptional in Norway, too. We're going to tell them they're not. They probably think they're exceptional in Venezuela. So, who are we to say that we're better than anybody else? And that's, of course, not what American exceptionalism is. The American left really does not like this country and thinks it is unjust and immoral, and that can be traced to its founding, our founding. And their objective is to cut this country down to size, that we have simply grown too large by being unfair to other people in the world. So don't doubt me. And we are now witnessing the important point here. We are now witnessing what can happen with leadership. Positive, affirmative, can-do leadership brought to us by somebody who lived and breathed during the last period of American greatness, thus knows it can happen. And this is the benefit of experience. Everybody says, Trump didn't have any experience. It's dangerous. He's on the outsider, doesn't know what he's doing. He has lots of experience. He has life experiences, lived when America was enduring and going through periods of greatness and economic expansion and growth. Trump lived through that, prospered during it, knows it can happen, was frustrated that it had been slowed down and stymied and wanted to reignite it. Why? Because he loves people, as we all do, and he loves the country and was cringing at what was done to it. Now, if you dig deeper into these employment and look, just the raw numbers here are staggering, folks. 313,000 new jobs. I remember when the January number came out, it was a little bit lower than expected. I think they were expecting, by memory right, 255,000. It was 200,000. And drive-bys and the media all started to say, see, they were already starting to slow down. Trump's recovery is a phony thing. It's not real. We can't sustain that. And then here we are. February numbers, 313,000. Expectations, 200,000. But, man, this is just a part of the story. The labor force participation rate, that number that kept shrinking during the Obama years. The percentage of Americans able to work who are not working was growing too rapidly under the Obama administration. One of the reasons why. Every month, new people losing their jobs. The Democrats came up with things to say it was a good thing. Fun employment. Do you remember that? Being unemployed was a good thing because that afforded you the opportunity to reconnect with family and friends that you may not have seen for years because you had the arduous task of having to work. And Nancy Pelosi was on this song and dance tour as well. claiming that jobs were one of the most damaging things to human relationships America had. And when people lost their jobs, they could reconnect with people and maybe discover what they really wanted to do. Remember, Pelosi said you lose your job and now you can start going to the park and painting scenes like you've always wanted to do your whole life. Well, what enabled people to do that? How do you eat if you are not working? Well, that's where the left comes to the rescue. They'll pay you not to work. So eager are they for you to lose your job and become dependent on them that they'll pay for it. So while the labor force participation rate was shrinking, everybody lost their jobs, kept eating. And if that's the case, what's the incentive to go back to work? There wasn't any. The economy wasn't expanding. Wages were not going. Taxes were exorbitant. The incentive to go back to work had really been curtailed on purpose by Obama. This offended Donald Trump as well as all the rest of us. And now there are all kinds of reasons to want to go back to work, including the personal ones. A sense of self-worth, a sense of contribution, a sense of identity, a sense of belonging, rather than becoming dependent and guilty and accomplishing nothing. With a hallmark of the Obama administration population, in less than a year and a half, it has been reversed. The number of employed Americans has set a record, the 8th record of the Trump administration, not even a year and a half old, 155,215,000 employed Americans. But you go even deeper. Manufacturing jobs, 31,000 new manufacturing jobs in February. The total number, 263,000 brand new manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump. These were numbers Obama could not have realized in 8 years, ladies and gentlemen, and didn't. In less than a year and a half. Also, it must be really dire out there on the left, the internal polling, because Nancy Pelosi, when she can get a coherent sentence out, is walking back her comment that Trump's tax cuts are nothing more than crumbs. From the Washington Free Beacon, Nancy Pelosi yesterday appeared to moderate her position about the value of bonuses and pay raises resulting from the tax cut. Pelosi had previously called the bonuses crumbs and so pathetic. Many in her party joined her as they made an issue out of the tax law while it was generally unpopular. It was unpopular because of them. It was unpopular because of the media lying to people about it, telling people that they were not going to get a tax cut. The only people that were going to get a tax cut were corporations and the rich. They were lied to, just like they're lied to during Russiagate. They're lied to. American people sadly believed it. Now life and reality are showing them an alternative, which is the truth. And now Pelosi, certainly, she said, certainly we love when people get a bonus and if they get a raise. But if it is so small in comparison, if the choice was made for corporate America and the top 1% at the expense of working families, something is wrong with this picture. So she can't even, she just in her existence, she cannot walk it all back. But she knows she has to because the internal polling on this must be devastating for the Democrats. Pelosi referred to the tax laws, the dark cloud hanging over the Capitol, as she described the Republican tax scheme. Now we move on to the tariffs. I have to tell you, one other thing on the unemployment situation. Black unemployment rate is the second lowest ever. More blacks and African Americans are working in America than ever before, and the unemployment rate among African Americans is the lowest it's been since the 1970s. More importantly, participation climbed to its highest level since April of 2009, which happens to be Obama's first year. So then the employment jobs numbers are just off the charts good everywhere you look. This is causing panic from the top to the bottom of the Democrat Party. It's causing panic throughout the American and worldwide left because none of this is supposed to be possible. America's best days were supposed to have been behind us. That was Obama's theme. And we had to enter into a new way of thinking, manage the decline. None of this, the establishment, the elites told us, none of this was possible anymore. Because of a global economy and because of climate change and other pressures, none of this was possible. We had to learn to lower our expectations in less than a year and a half. The basic premises of the Obama presidency have been nuked. They have been thermonuked.